Rob here at etrailer.com, and today you're going to be taking a look at the CURT Class II custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2019 Mazda CX-9. Now here's what our hitch is going to look like once we have it installed. The cross tube is going to be completely hidden behind the bumper, so it's going to have that really nice, clean factory look, and all we're going to see is the receiver tube sticking out. Now it is a Class II hitch, which means it's going to give us that 1¼ by 1¼ receiver tube opening, and it's going to be more for use with bike racks, cargo carriers, or some of those recreational purposes. Now there are ball mounts that are available, but it is going to be specifically for this hitch, so if you do plan on doing some light duty towing, you can head over to etrailer.com and find those ball mounts. But regardless if you're going to use it for towing or recreational purposes, all of our accessories are going to mount through the hitch pin hole here on the side. And our hitch is going to accept a standard 1/2-inch pin and clip. Now these are not included with the hitch, but you can pick them up here at etrailer.com along with some anti-rattle and locking devices to make sure your accessories are secure and they're not making a lot of noise when we're driving down the road. Now if you are planning on towing a trailer, you need a spot to hook up your safety chains, and here we have a loop style welded at the bottom, and you can see we have plenty of room to get most size hooks on or off. Now, as far as the weight rating goes, our hitch is going to have a 350-pound tongue weight. That's going to be the maximum downward pressure at the end of the receiver tube. It's also going to have a 3,500-pound gross trailer weight rating. That's how much our hitch can pull, including the trailer and everything we have loaded on it. But I do recommend that you double check your CX-9's owner's manual because you don't want to exceed the manufacturer's recommended weight. I'd like to give a few measurements, and these are going to help you out whenever you're looking at accessories for your new hitch. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, it's right about 4.5 inches. The measurement is going to come in handy when you're looking at folding accessories to make sure you have enough room to put them in the upright stored position and they're not going to make contact with the rear bumper. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening is right about 14.5 inches. At that height, I'd recommend a bike rack or a cargo carrier that has a raised shank. That way we can just get a little bit more ground clearance out of it. And now that we've seen what our hitch looks like and gone over some of the features, let's get it installed together. To begin our installation, we want to come to the back of our CX-9, and at the very bottom of the bumper here, we'll have this extra panel that's attached using a few push pins. And we want to remove the push pin that's on the very edge here that's on the bumper. We don't need to mess with the ones that are on the panel itself. Now you'll notice there's a little notch on each side of it. I'm going to grab a flat blade screwdriver, put it inside the notch, pop the center section of the push pin out, and we should pull the rest of it out. And we're going to have one on the other side, so if we follow it over, we'll pull that one out as well. Now if we move underneath the panel, right towards the back of the bumper, we'll find a support rod that panel is attached to, and it's bolted to this piece right here. So you want to grab a 10mm socket and pull that nut out. We're going to have one bolt on each side. So once we get this one out, we're going to remove the one on the other side as well. Now once we have the bolts loose, you may notice that the panel still feels like it's tight in there. What we need to do is we need to reach up top, and there's a little plastic tab that we need to push with our finger, and we'll pull down at the same time. This little tab right here. It's just keeping it from coming down. And we want to push that tab so we don't rip it out of there. But we'll take the other tab out and we'll put this panel aside. Our next step is going to be lowering the exhaust. But we don't want to come down too far and cause any damage, so I'm going to put a support strap up. You just want to find a solid point somewhere on the vehicle that we can hook the strap to. Then I'll tighten it up until we get the exhaust down. But if we come to the muffler and we go to the side towards our tailpipes, we'll have a hanger that's going to be towards the back of our vehicle on each side. And then we're also going to have another hanger that's going to be towards the front of the muffler, towards the front of the vehicle. I'm going to take some spray lubricant, I'm going to spray it on the hanger, and that's just going to make it easier for the rubber isolator to slide off. Then we can take a pry bar, and we're going to use the hanger to pry against. And the main goal here is to get that isolator to slide off, but you may have to get a little creative on what you're prying against. Now that we have this one off, we're going to repeat it for the forward one and the two on the other side. And I'm just going to loosen up my strap so we have plenty of room above the muffler on each side of the frame rail. Now that the muffler's out of the way, if we look at the top of our frame rail, we'll have a large hole that's towards the back of our bumper, and if we move forward, we'll have an oval hole that's going to be towards the front. Those are going to be our two mounting locations. They're going to be exactly the same on each side. We need to get our hardware in place, so we want to grab our pull wire. What I like to do is just kind of estimate about how long it is. I'll put a slight bend in it. I'm going to take the coiled end, feed it towards the large hole. And the goal here is to have the coiled end come out just like that. I'm also going to put an end towards the tail so it doesn't go in and we have two ends sticking out of the frame rail. I'll grab our square hole spacer block, slide it over the pull wire, and slide it into the frame. And we'll grab our carriage bolt and we're going to thread it onto the end of the wire. And we'll push that into the frame as well. We'll grab the end of our pull wire and we'll pull it down until the bolt drops down through the frame. Now the last mounting point towards the rear is going to be a little bit different. Still going to use the same hardware and our pull wire, except this time we're going to take our spacer block, slide it over the pull wire first, thread our carriage bolt in place, put the bolt into the frame, followed by our block. Then we'll pull down to where the bolt comes down through the frame as well. Now I like to leave my pull wires attached, that way we don't have to worry about pushing the bolt back into the frame, but we're going to repeat this whole process on the other side of the car. Now with the next set of hands, we're going to lift our hitch above our exhaust. We're going to make sure we put our pull wires down through the top, and we'll lift it up where the bolts will come through the hitch. Now once we have it in position, we can remove our pull wire. We'll grab a flange nut out of our kit. And you want to get at least one loosely secure. That way we know the hitch will support itself. We don't have to worry about it falling, and then we'll repeat that for all the remaining bolts coming down through the frame. Once you have all your hardware in place, I'll come back with a 3/4 inch socket and tighten up all the flange nuts. I'm going to come back with a torque wrench and I'm going to torque all my hardware down to the specified amount in the instructions. I'm going to make sure you go back and repeat that for any remaining hardware that you have. I'm going to spray a little bit of lubricant on the hanger and the isolator and just lift our exhaust up, slide it back into position. Now I do suggest doing one side at a time rather than doing the front or the back, because as you can see it's going to put the isolator in kind of a weird position. So you just want to push your muffler to the side, make it a little bit easier to slide on, and then we can push it to the other side to get our hangers on the other side of our Mazda back in place. So we're going to remove the strap that was supporting our exhaust earlier, and that'll finish up your installation and your look at the CURT Class II custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2019 Mazda CX-9.